Thank you for coming to another episode of The Artificial Mind. It's me, your host, Jonathan. I'm here with, once again, Jeremy. How you doing today, man?
I am beautiful. How are you today, John?
I'm actually feeling really good, man. It's been a pretty productive week. I you had me dive into some stuff that I was kind of impressed with. That I a lot of things that I learned about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to talk about this episode today. Um, Before we get to that, we put a poll on the last episode. Well, we had an episode poll. The episode poll, as you remember, last week we did the tracks. The oh my god,
27 Club.
yep,
Yep.
the 27 Club, the lost tapes of the 27 Club, which featured "Drawn in the Sun" in the style of Nirvana, "Man I Know" in the style of Amy Winehouse, "You're Gonna Kill Me" in the style of Jimi Hendrix, and "The Roads Are Alive" in the style of The Doors. And all the votes went to "Drawn in the Sun" by Nirvana.
I think that was the closest you could get to a Nirvana song. I
Yeah,
mean, it was pretty legit. I mean, we went through and even checked out the lyrics, and if I was what song was it? All Apologies. I mean, it was in the song. So
yeah. So a lot of people, I actually received a message, and this we're gonna do a double whammy here too, because a
oh,
big shout out to Yumi and Lore
you
for
may.
for giving us a huge shout out on their show. We appreciate you. And I left you guys a little gift in your Discord. It was a little picture with the Technomancer and the Master Chief. So I hope you guys enjoy that. But I had received a message from one of the hosts saying I could have sworn that was Kurt Cobain singing that. And
Mm-hmm.
it just goes to show how influential this project came to be, man. Very special. We also had a Q&A. The question was, do you think AI will be the beginning of the end for artists? One answer that we have here is said no. I think it has no soul. Pretty.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty straightforward answer, and
Yeah.
I kind of if we look at the deeper meaning of that, it actually kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
I like they're referring to like the ghost of machine kind of scenario of, or like no soul in the machine. So how could it ruin art?
Exactly. So that I thought that was very interesting that he says that because in a way he is right that these machines do not have souls.
Right.
They're they're machines and they are aware. And the philosophy, there's a whole philosophy to converse about that. Like one thing that I was actually very curious about was, we're on Mid Journey, we're making all these pieces, right?
Right.
But does the AI behind all this, does it recognize your work, and does it start getting used to it to a point that it starts coming up with what you're thinking of before you even think about it?
That's a good question. I remember I told you the other night I was having a dream that was starting to mimic like my pictures from Mid Journey.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a bad thing. It was like it was almost like how it updates on the screen. You're seeing these uh, very abstract images, but yet to you, you see something there, right? So basically, it's not really ruining art, in my opinion. It's taking your dreams and your thoughts that you've had for a long time and kind of giving them a little bit of fruition. I don't know.
It's
That's like a whole philosophical podcast right there, I think.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I could tie that into this episode that we'll be bringing up here in a little bit, as far as like the detail of it and stuff like that. Because when you blow these pictures up on, say, Mid Journey, they're still not like that detailed. There's still imagination left to be said.
hmm I mean, there's so much to talk. There's so much to think. I mean, I mean, if you think about it, it's already thinking for you.
Yeah.
You write down the prompts and it's already there. There's been some. I mean, there was a really interesting presentation event situation that they did a couple days ago, Midjourney, where they talked about amping up the AI itself.
Mhm.
Where clearer faces, better textures, and they even talked about bringing this into a 3D world
Okay.
coming like soon, like very soon.
And they're on a version 3 right now, right? Like they just updated it recently.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like, and it's so cool, man. I'm very excited to see what's coming next with that. Um, so this week's theme is Frank Frazetta, and you chose this theme this week. I want to, why why Frank Frazetta?
A few things really, and I didn't realize like the impact that he had. I did not realize that he was what many people considered the godfather of fantasy art. First of all,
Yeah,
I just remember him from. I grew up in the '80s, and I watched the Conan the Barbarian movies growing up with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I remember. I can even remember the year I bought a comic book of it. It was 1988. I actually found the comic again, so it was kind of neat. I was in a Halloween mood. I thought we had to do a Halloween episode, and this kind of ties in with that because some might consider this a little dark and stuff. Um, but yeah, I wanted to do a fantasy art theme, so I figured why not tie that in with a Halloween theme kind of feel, and um, we can go right to that or discuss a little bit about him. I did do a little bit of information on him. I didn't know this, John, but he was born in New York.
yeah. He was a Brooklyn native. I
Yep.
learned. Yeah, he was a Brooklyn native, born and raised there. He's an Aquarius.
Oh, I
February
didn't know
9th.
that.
Yep, February 9th, 1928.
Oh,
Died in the Taurus era.
2010. Yep.
Yep, he died in the Taurus era in 2010 in Fort Myers, Florida, which is where uh, I try not to make jokes on such a serious podcast, but it seems
Mhm.
like that seems the place where everybody seems
Yeah,
to.
you gotta throw a bone every now and then.
Yeah, so that seems like the place where people want to, live their life.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I did some digging. They didn't really have any like documentaries on him, and for such an interesting artist for his time and what he brought, I did not find anything on YouTube like an official documentary or anything. I found like one interview with him, and he almost kind of struck me as I think him and Jack Kerouac would have gotten along for some reason. I don't know. They were kind of around the same era, sort of. I mean, Jack died in the '60s, but anyways, yeah. The more I looked up with this guy, the more I realized that he was in a lot of stuff that I grew up with. He started doing film posters.
Okay.
He did God. Well, he did some for Conan the Barbarian.
He
I know
was
he did a
famous.
couple. I think he
was-
did George Lucas for one George. It might have been one Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, he also, from what I understand, he also did the Ringo Starr painting for Mad Magazine.
Okay.
And that's where from what I've read, that's where he got noticed. Like a lot of people started seeing like a lot of his work from there. And even
Mhm.
before then, like at 8 years old, he went to this is what I thought was interesting, that at the age of 8 he went to the Brooklyn Academy of Fine Arts.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And
He was
and
he was
said,
nurtured in art from the very early age, and it
yep,
showed.
it's very cool. So he was already drawing at a very young age, and already, I mean, Matt, he did, uh, you know,
He did some very interesting magazines, actually. From one of the videos I seen, like comic books that no one would probably know about these days. They were more like, oh, they were like one or two comics at a time, kind of a thing from a company, and then the company's name would change. It was interesting like that. They were more like sci-fi magazines, like your monthly subscription kind of things that they
do you,
had back then.
do you know if he ever did any heavy metal magazines?
Yes,
He did.
yes.
Okay.
Pretty much anything that has looked like that style, and it's probably him.
Yeah, it's really
He's
cool
done
because,
album
like,
covers. He's done
oh,
it all basically from what I've seen.
Oh, very nice.
I remember as a kid, a Molly Hatchet actually record that my father had, and it had a Frank Frazetta poster. It was the guy with the hatchet and the like the Valkyrie guy or Viking guy.
I also want to add in there too that he has won a Chesley Award in 1998, 95, and 97, a Hugo Award in 1966, and a Spectrum Grand Master of Fantastic Art Award in 1995. The guy's got accolades.
Yeah,
He
he's a master.
he really is. He really is one of the greatest artists of all time. The more that I learned about them, um, uh, there are a couple album covers. A list I have here. He did "Welcome to LBJ Ranch." It was a comedy album.
No,
He did Roy Orbison, "The Fastest Guitar Alive," "Dust," "Heart Attack," "Nazareth," "Expect No Mercy," three Molly Hatchet albums.
yep,
As far as movie posters, he did "What's New, Pussycat," "The Secret
yep.
of My Success," "Hotel Paradiso," "The
The Gauntlet.
Busybody," "The Gauntlet," Mrs. Halifax, "Spy," "Fire and Ice," and a couple more. Uh, he lived a life.
Yeah, that Fire and Ice actually is interesting because that I looked that up last night, and that's an animation. And how they shot that was they did live recording of people moving around acting the parts, and then they animated over it.
Oh,
And it ended up being a huge money eater, and it didn't make money at its time. But now, of course, it's a cult classic, so it's made its money back tenfold.
yeah.
But I need to check that out because it looked very interesting. And it's interesting that they called it Fire and Ice because I believe didn't is it R.R. Martin? Didn't he? Weren't his books called the Story of or Song of Fire and Ice?
I but actually yes, I believe that is the original title of Lord of the Rings. I don't
Or
know.
not Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Game of Thrones. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. I haven't I haven't watched Game of Thrones to be honest. I mean the families. I mean, and this is what makes it so interesting too, because I'm not the guy that you know. I don't dive into fantasy like that.
Like you wouldn't have gotten into it through the Game of Thrones kind of a guy. You like you had to be shown it from a different angle, kind of a thing, to be like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I could totally get that.
Yeah, it's very. So this was probably one of the most interesting things I've ever had to do. So I'm actually excited to show off what we got. But I'm going to start off with you.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with you. We got a couple things here. Mine are all widescreen. Yours are all like
Now,
shots.
one thing I should point out before we start showing the pictures is the one thing that made him interesting was at the time when like comic books and all that were all about like getting into flair and brighter and just more eye-catching things. He was more into more minimizing, like taking one color and usually more of a earth tone or a blue tone and using that. And if he had a focal point, it wasn't that much, and it made the thing that he was trying to focus on that much more brilliant. So we'll kind of get into that. We need to grab a picture of his before we end this show and put it on there at the end of it.
Oh, that's no problem. You want his self-portrait that he made?
Oh, I did not see that one, so maybe we should.
Yeah, that's a beautiful.
That'd be
one.
interesting.
That would be, and then we could, talk about that one too. So we're gonna start off with your blacksmith here.
Okay. Yes, the blacksmith. I think this was the second one I worked on. So I was trying to remember all the characters from Dungeons and Dragons from all things because I was like, okay, where do I begin with this?
Mm-hmm.
The main keyword I used a lot was, of course, Frank Frazetta. Trying to think of if there were any other common phrases that I might have used. I tried to keep it pretty loose, but on this one, I went with a blacksmith, and I liked how this one turned out because many of the other ones that I was getting, you really couldn't tell what he was working on.
Yeah.
And this one, you got a pretty good idea that he's working on some type of sword. And he's an older guy, so he's definitely a master at it. So he's been doing this for a long time.
Yes, he has. I like this piece of, especially I like swords. I always think like when I think of swords, I think Robin Hood, and his mighty battles against the Sheriff of Nottingham. And I also watch a lot of that show Forged in Fire. So
Okay.
this is it's like watching an old school version of it happening. So this is
Oh yeah.
I really like this because it's when we see a painting, we see paintings of people standing on a bridge or looking at a tower, and here he's just making a
He's in
sword.
action.
Yeah, he's doing something,
And
and
that's another thing that you'll notice with Frank's stuff is that he, in all of his pictures, the pictures in motion. Like you can sense the what's going on. Like it's not just a character smiling back at you, almost like breaking a fourth wall kind of a thing. It's like this. It's the old paintings, really.
yeah,
I
it's
believe he liked paintings and using inks a lot.
yeah. This is definitely a nice piece. Uh, so the next one we got here will be mine. My idea for this one was actually I wanted a barbarian,
Hmm.
like a barbarian walking through an Endo period feudal Japan, city street.
Yeah.
And now it looks like this barbarian is like merged with a building, like a traditional, Japanese Endo period Japanese tower.
Hmm.
And it's like he's like a man tower, and he has like maybe his guide with him. This is a very interesting picture because the emotion that I was trying to go for was like dark and gloomy,
Hmm.
pencil sketch type ordeal, and this came out, and I'm not mad about it at all because it really shows like the depth of what I actually wanted to portray, and I wanted to portray fear of a towering man
There's
because
definitely no one else out in the streets but them. So,
yeah,
yep.
I mean you could see it. This guy's in here. He's here for the action.
Hmm.
And whether this person here is meant to be his guide or a fearless opponent,
Hmm.
it's up for you to decide, and that's the beauty of this right now. Definitely a cool piece. I
It
had a
almost
lot of
looks kind of like a watercolor too. Watercolor painting.
yeah. I tried to keep that Frank Frazetta style.
Hmm.
I not gonna lie, I'm kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah.
There's some.
Another thing that Frank I read was the thing that made Frank kind of stick out with from other people is his shading. His shading all connected. If you're really into like drawing and stuff, then you'll probably go look at this stuff on YouTube. But he was all about having things connect and simple shapes, really like squares, triangles, circles. Like if you look at his paintings and drawings, like you'll see a fluid shape going on in them.
Mm, I like that.
Yeah.
The next one we got of yours is The Knight.
Night. The night one was a wee bit difficult. I believe this is night number 6 or 7.
Oh,
Yeah, I just wanted one where I could actually get a helmet with it either looking at me or at least have an eye slit because it was just helmet. So I thought the poor fellow was going to suffocate in this painting.
mm,
So I finally got one, and I like this one because it's almost like the only other scenario I can think of is in the movie Willow. They had these type of it was like a jousting sword. It was welded.
ooh, yeah, yeah.
It was welded to almost like a glove, a gauntlet, if you will. Who the hell was it? I think it was Mad Mardigan had that thing.
Yeah, are you gonna watch Willow when it comes out on
I don't
Disney
know. I'm
Plus?
wondering because I do like what's his face Warwick.
Yeah, Warwick Davies. Yeah,
Yes, I think he still got it. It's gonna suck that Val can't be in it, but
I know, I know. I
I
love Val
think I'll
Kilmer.
check it out. We'll see. It's supposed to come out in what in the winter or something.
Something like that. I was a kid once.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
like knights.
yeah.
Knights are cool. Jousting is cool. Things like this is cool. But I love the armor because it looks like the armor chest piece has like a skull on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like like yeah, I'm a knight, but I also bring death.
And this is my badge of honor.
Yeah, that's exactly the feel I'm getting there. What we got? Let's see. What's my next one?
Shuffle the cards. Shuffle the cards.
Let's go with this one right here.
All right.
So tried to stick with the barbarian feel. You know,
Mhm.
there seems to I going through
Mission
Frank.
accomplished.
Yeah, you know, Frank Frazetta's work. I got when I think fantasy, I think barbarians, I think swords, I think skulls,
Yep.
and I wanted to have like a barbarian holding a woman while a village burns behind him.
Now this is very true to Frank, John. This is like you notice there's not like the brightest color in this is like the orange from the fire,
Yeah,
and everything else is more like a bluish brown. He definitely liked his. I'm not gonna say earth tones, but just he stuck with one color, and from there he brought it out.
yeah, he really did, man. And even this, like I'm looking at it and I can't stop looking at it because you see in the middle there are two people holding each other.
Right.
And you know, there's a lot of interpretation on what exactly that is.
Mhm.
But if you look over in the hill up there, there's someone stuck up there.
Up on the left or
Yeah.
the right?
Yep, up on the left.
Okay, yeah, I see them. Almost like they have a bow and arrow or a flute in their mouth.
Yep, almost waiting for the barbarian for his moment of vulnerability. And it's almost like there's a story going on here because maybe the barbarian's in love with this woman, but the woman is not in love with him. But she has to do everything she can to protect her village. But the village is gone now, so the only thing to do is to take down the barbarian. And maybe
Seduce him and then choke him.
maybe this is exactly what's about
Get
to
in
happen.
close.
Yeah, this is interesting, very interesting.
What did you title that one?
I don't think I titled it.
You don't title it either. Okay, yeah, I didn't really title mine either on this one. That's why I'm like trying to remember what I called it, and I honestly.
This one was interesting to put together. Very interesting to put together, and I'm not mad at it. It was a very beautiful, and this was actually, I think once I saw it, I was like, this is the one right here. It tells a story, and I'm all about
Yes,
the lore.
it just focuses you in on the middle too. You get even the fire just brings it back to the ladies in the middle there. And what's the next one?
So the next one, to me, it's like one of my favorite ones because it's almost like it was like almost the same.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this
The
one, I
Death
see here,
Adder.
you named it the Death Adder.
Yeah. I want to say after the first one I did, which I believe we'll see that at the end here, but this was the second one I did because I was so fascinated with how the first one turned out. And I think this is what basically got me going on the Frank Frazetta thing. Up to that point, I just had the theme song to Conan Barbarian in my head. And then I started messing around with this, and then that's what started this whole thing and whole episode.
Okay.
So yeah, I fed Death Adder in there. I think I tried a couple other things, and it actually told me I could not use those words.
Oh yeah, because Midjourney is very family oriented.
Yes, and that's something we should definitely point out too, because that was a surprise to me, and it still surprises me sometimes when I throw stuff in there because I'm like, that's not necessarily a bad word, but you know, it's cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, that was actually one thing that they spoke about during the presentation too.
Did they?
How one person came up and said, "Oh, well, maybe can we have a not safe for work section?" And they were really adamant about not being in a rush to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even certain words like bloody and flesh, they don't work. And
that's good. I'm glad they're taking their time with it. Like this stuff's gonna blow up. It just will. So it's best just to let it go gradual and not like, I don't know, break the bubble, because the bubble will break eventually, just like anything else. It's just, this is cool for what's going on and the possibilities that it has.
And so the reason why I liked your piece so much, because it reminded me a lot of mine that I'm showing right now.
Yep.
Yours was the Death Adder, and mine. Um, so mine, I put a handsome barbarian sitting on a crown, sitting on a throne of skulls.
Yep.
Um, depending on what perspective you're looking at, he's probably handsome. He
I was
doesn't
going to
look.
say to each his own. Yes.
Yeah, yep. To each his own. And I mean, this one just came out like so similar to yours. I mean, that he almost looks like the Death Adder.
Yeah. Like
And
same. They shop at the same place. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, seriously. And they're sitting here, and you're just like whoa, like is he in hell or is he in a village? A village,
Mm.
It's pretty good, man. I really like this one. This one blew my mind.
Yeah. These two ones are these two I looked at a long time because like they look so detailed, and yet when you get in close, they're really still abstract. That's what I love about this stuff. Is like it's very much like a dream where you think you see one thing, and then like if you're able to control your dreams, you can get closer and you realize it's not what you think it is, and it's so much kind of like a dream. That's why I like this stuff.
Yeah, or even if you have like that dream that one night and you're just like, I need to see if I could replicate that.
Yeah, now you can feed that thought in there and possibly recreate some of it. So like now you can. That's an idea. Maybe some people can start doing is start to document their sleeping patterns or dreams this way.
Very true. And
Did
I
not
mean,
think of
there's
that.
some very interesting stories that would probably come from that.
Yeah,
The next one is
the bard.
the Bard Lady.
The Bard Lady. So this was the very first one I did, and this is after I was like thinking about um, Frank Frazetta and whatnot. And I think she was probably the third time I tried making one, and much of the other ones were actually more detailed. And I kind of liked this one because it painted more of like what if Frank Frazetta had done an oil painting, which he did, or not oil, watercolors, excuse me. And he did those. He just was more of a regular painter or ink user. He did
Yeah.
all sorts of media, I know that, but I think his go-to ones were regular oils or acrylics and ink.
Yeah, and this one definitely has like that vibe in it too, which is really cool. And it's very like the detail on it's pretty cool. Like you could clearly see the face, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get that so much in Mid Journey.
Right.
So you did a really good job really detailing the face here, man.
And some things I just like more abstract than others because I, granted, she is the bard, but like you can kind of see like the makings of a guitar or a
Like a
violin.
ukulele or something.
Yeah, yeah, something in her hands. I just liked her expression because that's usually how a bard is portrayed as just happier than most of the people in that era.
Oh, that's right, actually.
They had a better job than most people. They didn't have to, be a farmer. They just had to come up with witty songs occasionally.
Yeah, and I like the little Sherwoody background too.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man. So my last
All
one,
right, what's your last one?
my last one.
Oh, wow. You know what this reminds me of, John? I don't know what books they were, but as a kid when I was growing up in the 80s, there was an artist. It wasn't Frank, but this reminds me of like stuff like that. Oh, wow. I'll have to look this up and figure out who it was. I love this. What's this? What's the title of this one?
Sorry about that because I had
Oh,
I had a slight disconnection.
Gotcha.
So I
What was this one called?
So this one I wanted it to be the Sword in the Stone.
Okay.
With a barbarian. So I actually think that the sword is actually up there up top.
Oh, yep. There it is.
I think that's it, and it looks like he's just kind of just like sitting there waiting for the right moment for this to happen, and he's like, "This is my time. I'm going to be the king one day, the barbarian king." So So before we get to our fan submission, we're gonna show. Here's Frank Frazetta. This is not a
Frankie.
this is not an AI generated picture. This is a self portrait that he made of himself. The Brooklyn artist, 8 years old at a prestigious school in New York, and this is the man. This is the man who brought all this powerful art. A man who extended the imagination.
If you ask any comic book illustrator nowadays, they'll know this guy for sure.
He kind of looks like Frank Castle a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got like a Frank Castle, and his name's Frank too. How about that?
Suggestive.
Yeah. So as you know, every episode we are going to have a fan submission. This week's fan submission is from Ashton Steimling.
Ah.
Yeah, for those I know you know that name. He was a good friend of yours, and he sent me in this prompt: the last selfie ever taken. You know me, I'm a sucker for the end of the world, post-apocalyptic. So this is the photo.
I'm not far behind. Yes.
So there is okay. So first off, I mean, we know it's not a selfie; it's more like a back shot, but the essence is there, the energy is there.
Yep.
The angle is there. It just this whole thing just screams, "This is it," you know.
Yeah.
And if it was the end of the world, I would almost expect the last photo ever found to look just like this. You know, you
The back of someone as they're looking at nothingness, basically. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, whatever place this is that the AI generated, it's
Because at this point, I don't think anyone's going to be worrying about a selfie. So yeah, the fact that this person took a picture of another person, or if it was a selfie, it's done from behind. That's good perspective. Like it's
it's
you're on
almost like
your own, you're looking at nothingness. What do you do?
it's almost like a kind of like a concept art from a movie or something, or maybe something from like a Fallout game of some sort.
Well, what's that? What's the girl's name that's in the new Spider-Man's? It almost looks like her from behind, from the back of her.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Zeta or Zeta?
Yeah,
Zeta?
I can't remember off the top of my tongue.
Yeah, I know it's a
But
Zeta.
yeah, but I mean, hey, these situations exist. These situations will exist, and this is probably one of the eeriest mid-journey photos I've ever seen in my life.
And really
know?
good detailed too. I'm impressed by its knowledge because I mean, so far, if you throw an artist in there, it's going to give you some indication that it knows what you're talking about. I have not, like you said, I haven't been disappointed with what I've thrown in there. Like maybe how it looks, I don't like how it looks, but that's just me. But that's just the look of it. Otherwise, I love what it's doing. Like the work that it's putting into it and what it's cutting out. Like even the ones I don't choose, I like them. It's pretty cool. And I hope they do take their time with it as they go. The fact that they just had that event and are letting people know that they want to do that is a good thing. For sure. And if any of you are still interested in Frank Frazetta, there's not a whole lot on YouTube right now as far as like documentaries. There's maybe a couple with him doing an interview. I almost watched a 3-hour video of explaining why he was one of the greatest, and that's okay. So, yeah, it's worth checking out. And I think John had to take an artificial break. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas that you'd like to share as far as like a show we should do, not just showing us a piece, but an actual idea for a show, God, I would love that idea. So you can send them to John. He's got all the info for that. Let's see. Yeah, like if you have any ideas, please let us know. We'd love to hear them because I have so many ideas, probably enough to carry us through 30 episodes. And after that, I'm seriously going to need some output and input.
Thank you for listening to the Artificial Mind, an original podcast hosted by Jonathan Sanchez and Jeremy Strobridge. Produced by Clean Sanchez Media. Check out our links at www.linktree.com/theartificialmindpodcast and don't forget to follow, like, and share. Take care and so long.